What's up, y'all? This is John and Caleb back for another episode of the Nothing Finer podcast. As always, you can find us on Millions and as a part of the Fans First Sports Network. Tonight, we are going through our Week 0 picks. A little inside the part baseball. We are recording this on Monday because last minute, we got some free tickets to go to the Dirks Bentley Zach Top concert on Thursday night when we would normally be recording this. My wife has wanted to see Zach Top for a year and a half, so not even knowing he was going to be in Savannah this week, and then also getting free tickets, we're going to be there. Just one of those things. But so this is Monday. With that being said, we're going to talk about Farmageddon, aka Iowa State versus Kansas State in Dublin after the interview that we do on Wednesday night. That'll come out Thursday. But we'll be talking about our picks after the interview of that one. So we're not going to get to that. The rest of the Week 0 games we're talking about tonight. Before we get into that, how have you been and what are you drinking?
I have been busy. But not too bad. We've been trying to put some plans together to go to the red and black equestrian scrimmage this year. I know we talked about that some last time I was on, but now we're making things a little more official, which is exciting. Apparently those are free. So if you live in Athens and want to see some defending national champions, like those home meets are completely free this year. So you should go out and have some fun with that. I am being boring and drinking water right now because my voice has been in and out today between bouts. I mean, I've been on my feet running around all day and I'm just tired. So you'll have to forgive me if my brain just decides to shut down in the middle of the podcast tonight. I am doing my best.
Yeah, no, my voice has also been, for some reason, going in and out today. I don't quite understand why. And I've got some Smoke Wagon uncut, unfiltered that I'm drinking because I have two bottles sitting right here.
Mm.
One is the Basil Hayden Toasted that I want to try and finish and meant to pour this drink out of. And the other one's a Smoke Wagon that I
Wow.
brain farted and poured myself a drink out of. So if I go for a second one tonight, it'd be the Basil Hayden just because I want it to be gone.
Fair enough.
Um, so it has come to my attention over the off season that sports gambling has become a pretty significant issue in like our generation of men specifically. And by that I mean like guys going into tens of thousands of dollars of debt on like parlays and just
Don't do that.
yeah, just idiotic. Like we talk about gambling, correct? Yo, I've been playing with the same $20 in my account for years because
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't voluntarily just throw money away.
Yeah.
Like
A
I've
vast majority of what I do is I just like tracking to see if I'm right, so I don't bet a ton of money.
right, like I if you got it to bet $100 on a game and it's not going to affect your bills or your relationships with your family,
And that's not going to come out on Venmo in a few years.
fair. Then like, yeah, sure, whatever, man, you do you. But seriously, if it's hurting your relationships or you're late on bills or anything like that, like pl- reach out for help from like there's obviously the government gambling hotlines. Talk to somebody, like whatever it takes
Yeah.
because
1-800-GAMBLER.
yeah, whatever you need to do because it's an actual issue.
Mm.
Sports gambling is like I want to say it's a top 5 industry in the U.S. right now. Not even like casinos, but sports gambling by themselves, which is pretty wild.
Yeah,
Um,
that's crazy.
so, and that's honestly one reason that after we did the Bet US promotion, that I haven't tried to get another one because a lot of those promo codes are there's so many fine print and little like, oh yeah, so we're gonna match your deposit, but also you have to bet $5,000 before you can cash in,
Right.
and it's like craziness. So yeah, we're gonna not do those unless it's a actual company that I trust. Like
Yeah.
if it's a company that has actual casinos in the ground and sports gambling is just on top of it, sure, right? Like Hard
Yeah.
Rock, Caesars, something like that. If that ever comes around, we can have that conversation. But no, like don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt your financial situation. Don't hurt your family. Like be smart.
Don't put money on. Don't see it as a money making enterprise, and don't put money on this that you wouldn't put like just getting a few beers with the boys. Like,
Yes. Um, Ironically, first game we're talking about is Idaho State at UNLV. Um, the
Vegas getting involved
city,
early.
yeah, the city just built on people being stupid and losing all the money that
Mm-hmm.
they can't afford to spend. But so I did put the game times for all the games this week just because there are some that overlap. There's some that are kind of on at the same time. But Idaho State at UNLV is a 4 o'clock game. UNLV 25-point favorite over under 64. Guys, if you're betting on a 25-point spread, that's
Get
that's real degenerate behavior.
yeah.
Now, the over under, we can talk about that, but
Not
25.
sure I would necessarily advise an over under either, but
Yeah, I mean, I might put a couple dollars, and by couple I mean literally like two.
right.
Um, but we get to see Dan Mullen revive his coaching career against the Idaho State Bengals, breaking back in with a bang with a quarterback Alex Orji trying to find his way to play ball in the Mullen system. Uh, Pretty excited about this one, honestly. But I will
Yeah.
say, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, yeah, there are things to. We should get some exciting football from some exciting players, and a very offensive-minded coach, if nothing else.
Correct. Um, and so this is something we were talking about before we started recording. I didn't know that Idaho State had a football team. Uh, they are FCS, but we were just talking about how the poor state of football in Idaho, and I know Boise State is obviously very good, the second group of five team to ever make the playoff. I get that. They are good. But the Idaho Vandals are the only team that has ever voluntarily dropped from FBS to FCS.
Yeah,
And it's because they were so bad. So I don't expect Idaho State, who I'm not sure if their players knew the team existed last year, based off the fact that they got blown out in most of their losses.
yeah,
And they didn't. They went 5-7 in the FCS. They had zero FBS opponents last year. Went 5-7, and I most of their games they scored once. Uh,
yikes!
yeah,
Did they play in
not a
the
good
Kibby Dome?
look. They did beat Sacramento State last year, the
Oh,
team
there we
that
go.
thought they
Jaden
were going to
Rashada.
be FBS.
Yeah.
Um,
Did they? I question, not to get us too off the rails. Did Jaden Rashada think they were going to be FBS when he went over there?
I think he did, and
Ooh,
honestly, he should be able to just leave at any point in time
yeah,
if he
I
wants
have
to
to agree
because of
with
that.
that.
Um, I will say, UNLV, like we have for the podcast, we have to pick the spread, right?
Yeah, you would think so. I mean, you're not gonna just pick a straight up winner in this game.
No, I UNLV is winning this game by at least 25 points.
Yeah,
They're going to.
I'm with you. They should, even if Idaho State was like a 8-4 FCS team last year. I think
Yeah.
with Dan Mullen, with the sort of experienced high level players that they brought in through the transfer portal, with the success they were able to have last year and the players they're able to keep around from that, I there's no reason they shouldn't win, even in regular circumstances, by at least 25 against any FCS school, much less one of this caliber.
Yeah, and you know what? I hope the Bengals do well. I don't expect them to, but it would be a very fun story for Dan Mullen to lose to Idaho State.
I mean, he has struggled against FCS teams before. We do remember that wonderful game against Sanford in 2021 when he was coaching at Florida. So it could
Yeah,
happen.
that. um, Speaking of Bulldogs, Fresno State at Kansas.
There we go.
This one is Saturday at 6 p.m. Kansas 13.5 point favorite, over under 50.5. I think this is a very interesting game for week 0, just because Kansas, for I would say the first 2 months of last year's season, they weren't good.
Yeah.
And then, got more consistent, got more healthy, and they ruined a lot of Big 12 teams' playoff hopes. Jalen Daniels will have to step up his passing attack this year because of losing Devin Neal. Um, I do fully expect Kansas to win this one, probably cover the spread, but I think Fresno State's going to come out with some fire. I think Fresno State's going to come out more prepared mentally. So if I put money on this game, I'm going to do Kansas minus 13.5, 4 quarters. First half, I'm going to do Fresno State +7.
I don't hate that. I don't hate that at all. I've got a bet in this game. I'm probably not going to actually put money on it, but I do have one just to throw out there a little later. Um, but yeah, I am. I've mentioned before, I'm kind of a believer in Kansas. I believe in Jalen Daniels. Uh, sorry, that wasn't Joe Hendry. Uh, and I kind of look at this year as, it can go one of two ways. Either Jalen Daniels kind of gets himself back up on the right foot and becomes that insane player we all know he can be and that he showed signs of a couple of years ago, or he is Kansas's version of Cam Rising and just can't ever seem to get it going because of injury bugs or whatever else, which would make me feel terrible because I do think he's got a lot of talent if he gets the chance to actually utilize it. So I agree. I lean towards Kansas covering 13.5, but it just depends on how badly Fresno State wants to win this game.
Yeah, and so just full transparency, the main reason that I picked Kansas State to cover at the end, like by the end of the game, is last year Fresno State lost a game to UNLV, we just talked about, 56-9. And
Yeah,
I expect Jalen Daniels to be just as good, if not better, than UNLV's offense last year.
you would think so. You would think so.
So that's kind of why I'm leaning that way. But I do think Kansas is going to take some time to get going. Like,
Yeah.
um, so so I really like the Fresno +7 first half, but Kansas minus 13.5 full game. And so I think I do this for the first couple of weeks of every season. 13.5 is they have to win by 14 or more points. +7 is they can be trailing by 7 or fewer points and you win that bet.
Mm-hmm.
And then the over under is total, so 50.5. If the total between the two teams is 50, hits the under. The over between the two teams is 51, hits the over. Um,
So
and
if
then,
Kansas were to win like 45-10, the over would hit and Kansas minus 13.5 would hit. Pretty
yes,
simple.
yes. Um, if you don't know anything about gambling, it is wild and confusing to get into. So just a couple, probably the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, I'll go through stuff like that. But we have the Sam Houston
Let's
at
go.
the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. And this
Some
is a Saturday at 7 p.m. CBS Sports Network, I believe this one's on. But we got Western Kentucky minus 10.5, over under 60.5. A lot of high over unders this
Yeah,
week.
I noticed that weirdly.
I'm pretty excited for that. And I'm also really excited for this game of imaginary mascots. You know, we do have the Bear Cats, and I say Cats because Bearkats.
Yeah, which is weird. So I guess they wanted to separate themselves from the strange mutant creature that the author of Rocky Top spoke about having an illicit affair with.
Yeah.
Half bear, other half cat.
Yeah, I don't like, that's imaginary in itself, and then you're gonna spell it wrong. I'm
Yeah.
just assuming you're probably not the brightest, and it's imaginary.
Wonder what
But
Sam Houston's SAT requirements are.
I probably not good.
Yeah.
But they are facing the Red Grimaces of Western Kentucky. Um, and
I have a
just
story about that.
all right, I gotta
uh,
hear it because I still
yeah,
don't actually have a clue what their mascot is.
yeah. I think it's supposed to be an anthropomorphic hill
Why is it red?
as the Hilltoppers. I don't. Who knows? That's a great question. But when we went, this was the second game I ever went to was Georgia's game against Western Kentucky in 2006, and my sister was terrified of that mascot, refused to look anywhere near that direction. And you think, oh, that's cute. She's like 4 or 5 or something like that. The
She's older
girl,
than you, isn't she?
she is 3 years older than me. So she would have been like 14, 15 at the time. And it was a bad look, but she was terrified of everything back in the day. But I kind of get it. Looking at Red Grimace.
Yeah, yeah. And so when I lived in Kentucky, we actually did a lot of field trips because I was one of the advanced kids back in the schooling days.
Nice.
So we did field trips to Western Kentucky University for like academic stuff and like different seminars and that sort of thing. And it was always odd. It was always confusing. Like no one has ever been able to adequately explain why we have a red grimace as a hilltopper. Also,
Their logo is a towel too.
yes, and here's the thing. So Western Kentucky is in Bowling Green, which, by the way, Bowling Green's more South Central Kentucky if we're going to be geographically correct.
Not to be confused with Bowling Green, Ohio, as well.
Fair. But Bowling Green, Kentucky is where the Corvette's from. Like you can
That's
have so many names off of
yeah. The
being the
Western
home
Kentucky
of the Corvette.
Corvettes would be awesome.
Yes. Or the Racers or
Yeah. The Night
anything.
Riders, like
The Western Kentucky Power for horsepower and
oh
have horses as your logo.
heck yeah.
Like so many options other than Red Grimace and
Hey,
being
you
on
know what
top of a
Western
hill.
Kentucky's got? Hills. We got a lot of hills.
They do. They have a lot of caves too, by the way.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. So, anyways, back
Cave
to back.
trolls would be a good mascot. Oh well, anyway.
That would be a funny one though.
Yeah.
They could be the mammoths. They're like 30 minutes from Mammoth Cave. Like
Oh
so
gosh,
many
yeah.
better things. Um. Anyways, this is a Conference USA matchup. So it'll be the second conference game of the day in week 0. So that's pretty awesome. Uh,
Love that.
Last season, Sam Houston won games in every way imaginable. They had back-to-back games at the end of the season last year where they won one game 10-7, the next game 9-3, and then immediately an overtime game that they won 27-23 against Kennesaw State.
Hmm.
Right before they became the first of two teams to beat Georgia in a New Orleans bowl game. Um, to be at a team from Georgia. I don't know if I said that right. In a New Orleans bowl game last year with a score of 31-26. Meanwhile, while Sam Houston's been up and down since they joined the FBS, Western Kentucky has done nothing but have top 25 passing offenses over the last 5 years. 2021, they were number one. 2022, they were number two. 2023, they were number five. 2 years ago, and then in 2024, they were 25, something like that.
Hmm.
So last year was the worst offense that they've had in the 2020s. I would not be shocked if Sam Houston covers a 10.5 because they do have a good defense. Um, but I think Western Kentucky still does win this one. Western Kentucky, sneaky pick to win the Conference USA. And I don't know what the rest of their schedule looks like, but could they be ranked at the end of the year? Maybe.
That's you got to look at them as a contender for that one spot. We'll have to see. But yeah, I like the pick of Western Kentucky. I did not put this in my best bets, but the under is calling my name in this one.
That is really high for Sam Houston to have a good defense.
Yeah, yeah. For Sam Houston to have a good defense and win games 10-7 and 9-3 on a regular basis, like I don't
All
know,
right,
seems
so
seems
who
seems like the under is just screaming.
I'm looking up. Oh, how did I not remember this? TJ Finley is Western Kentucky's quarterback.
Oh, you're right. The Auburn transfer. Yeah, we know a thing or two
Well,
about him.
Auburn and or LSU, then Auburn, then Texas State, then Western Kentucky.
That's right. Just
Yeah,
bouncing around like JT Daniels over here.
and I will say at Texas State, TJ Finley had one of the best offenses in college football.
That's true.
So
Maybe
you
they
know,
get back into the top few passing offenses in the country this year.
I think it's entirely possible. I think Western Kentucky has a very underrated coaching staff that should should a team like I don't know Auburn or real Kentucky need some coaches at the end of the year.
Might be looking that way.
I mean, you look.
How's their offensive coordinator?
I don't
I'm just kidding, guys. I'm not a Bobo hater. I'm just a Bobo criticizer when he
know.
deserves it.
And like we said, we're giving Bobo September. I guess
Yep.
August 30th through September.
Yep.
We're gonna give him some cupcakes to get ready, some big games to compete in.
But if we lose the Alabama game and only score 24 points, you better believe I'm calling for Buster Faulkner. All right.
Yeah, but man, I don't know if Buster would take the job at this point.
Yeah, he's doing good things over there with less competition at Georgia Tech.
That is true.
One of their
Speaking
conference
of,
competition is the Stanford Cardinal, who we're about to talk about.
yeah, just speaking of less competition, Stanford at Hawaii, Saturday at 7:30 on CBS, maybe NBC, one of the two. I don't remember. But this is the first time since we've started this podcast that people will watch a Hawaii football game. And I mean like people that are not Hawaii fans will watch a
Yeah,
Hawaii
yeah.
football game. And they will be favored. They are
Crazy.
2-point favorites. Now this game is at home. Man,
On what's going to be a very hot afternoon in Hawaii time as well.
yes. I had a thought that I will not say out loud because I feel like it's nothing negative. I just feel like if it happens, I'm gonna feel terrible.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I'll text you what it is later
I'm
because
sure you will.
it would be funny, but
Also terrible. Don't need people
yes,
to know. We think it'd be funny. All right.
no, I just man, if I say it out loud and it happens, I will feel so bad.
Fair enough.
So I'll text it and not say it out loud. It's different.
There we go. It doesn't count that way. It's like wearing
Um,
socks.
But the over under for this game is 52. If there's anything we have learned about Hawaii Week 0 games, it's to take the over.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that'll be in my best bets here in a minute. Um, but Hawaii being favored against a core 4 team is something that we haven't seen in a long time. But that is the state of the ACC's worst team. Um, Fun fact: yes, I'm saying that they are worse than Cal. I'm saying they are worse
Hmm.
than Florida State, who won 2 games last year. I think Stanford may be the worst core four team.
That's reasonable.
And boy, have them how the mighty have fallen from Andrew Luck to 12 years later being the worst core four team. That's
Yeah,
oof.
that is certainly something. Um,
Um, but Stanford lost their who was going to be their starting quarterback to BYU this offseason. Bear Bachmeier, who at least in the recruiting pictures that they took at BYU of Bear Bachmeier, he is wearing number 47, and
hate it.
I
I
am
hate it so
praying that
much.
is not true.
Yeah. Maybe
Um,
they think the number that high will keep him away from the ladies. Who knows?
47 is objectively a hideous number.
It just is, especially
Um,
on a quarterback.
yeah. But Stanford's backup. Do you know where he went?
Well, I don't want to steal your thunder because it's in the notes, so I'm just going to say I don't know where he went. Please tell me.
Yep, he's at Auburn. So they're down to last year's third string quarterback
Mm,
or freshman from
yeah,
a team that
gotcha.
already sucked.
Yeah.
Um,
Do we have a history of knowing what it's like in the ACC when a team is down to their third string quarterback? Have we seen a game in which that's happened?
I believe so. Yeah.
Maybe in a pretty significant bowl game.
Well, it wasn't significant, dude. It didn't count.
Oh, right, of course, yeah.
Dude, come on now.
Too many people quit on the team, so it doesn't count.
Yeah. So I really think this game not doesn't depend on how good Hawaii is, but just how bad Stanford is in general.
Yeah,
Um, I'm gonna take the Rainbow Warriors to cover the spread and some. Like I don't
yeah,
think this is particularly a close game.
yeah. That's wild. I actually am going to change one of my bets now because I didn't realize they were down to no quarterback whatsoever. So I will find something um, to do.
Good call. Good
Once
call.
once I figure out how to get out of suggestion mode in this note, I don't even know how I got in that. Anyway,
That red line through it also fit though.
yeah, it made it very clear. Uh, so yeah, wow. Learn new things every day. Poor Stanford. They are getting the raw side of whatever deal they end up getting. Like they go to the ACC and they end up just still being the worst team in the conference that they're in after being one of the worst teams in the Pac-12 the last few years. Remember when Christian McCaffrey played there?
Uh-huh.
That was a good time for
That
them.
was 10 years ago. That was the
Yeah,
2015 season that he was fighting for the Heisman.
yeah, man. Times sure have changed for Stanford, but you know they care more about the grades over there anyway. I'm sure they're not sweating over it every
If
time
they
they
no, if they cared about science or grades, they would have a cardinal mascot instead of a pine tree,
a
and they
tree.
wouldn't
Yeah,
have eyes and teeth on their tree that's not a cardinal. They don't
that's
care
true.
about intelligence or science.
Yeah, all right, that settles it. Warriors by 50.
Why do so many mascots have teeth? They don't need teeth.
They don't need teeth.
It's like grandma. She don't need teeth no more. Like what?
I know Louisville. You got birds with teeth.
Why? Why? Why are y'all giving your mascots teeth? Like bulldogs, they have teeth.
Yeah,
Tigers
makes sense.
have teeth. Elephants go into Alabama. They have real big teeth, right? You
Yeah,
don't
I
see
thought.
South Carolina putting teeth on a chicken. Nope.
You sure don't. Uh, or Jacksonville State for that matter.
Yeah, like the Florida Gators. Obviously, an alligator has teeth.
Yeah,
Like
a Commodore. Well, Commodores do have teeth, but anchors don't. So you don't see Vanderbilt putting the teeth on an anchor for their Commodore mascot.
We should do that.
That
Like if
that that
everybody made their mascots like Louisville and Stanford and just find the
just find stupid
craziest
things.
inanimate objects and put teeth on them.
I love it.
All right, that's a
I
meme for later in the week when we have time.
yeah, I'll keep that in mind. I've already kind of
Um,
got one for Stanford in that, or not Stanford, in Marshall that I've already made, but it doesn't have teeth, so I have to add teeth to it.
so best bets. I already said it. Just to remind y'all, we're doing our Iowa State versus Kansas State picks at the end of the interview that we're recording on Wednesday, putting out Thursday. So keep an eye out for that. Best bets. I have the over in the UNLV game. I just Dan Mullen scores a lot of points, and he doesn't always stop the other team from scoring a lot of points.
Yeah,
That's
that's reasonable.
um, and I couldn't find it because it's Monday, and they normally don't put these things out until Wednesday or Thursday. But whatever the Alex Orgy rushing yards total is, give me the over.
Yeah, fair. I was trying to find it too because I saw one in Farmageddon for some of the players, but couldn't find one in this one.
And they may not put it out, but whatever the imaginary number is, give me the over.
Fair.
Um,
We'll give you a half if there's not one.
okay. And then I'm going to take the Kansas 50 and a half over Western Kentucky. I'm actually going to take this back. I'm not doing my Western Kentucky one.
Okay, that's fair.
I am taking this one out. But the over in the Hawaii game, it's pretty low, in all honesty, for Stanford to be as bad as they are. Um, what's funny is some of Stanford's best players from last season transferred to Hawaii. So that yeah,
Revenge game too. Oh man.
yeah. So I'm taking a lot of overs. Pretty much all of my best bets are over. But
Yeah.
60.
High scoring weekend. Why not?
Yeah, let's open college football with a bang.
Yeah. As a guy who loves unders most of the time, I've only got one this week, and it is in Farm Ogeddon. Uh, just because I doing some well, I actually said this one from memory and then did research and feel less sure about it, but I'm still going to go with it anyway. Typically in these international games, you just don't see a whole lot of points scored. Um,
What was
Something
the
about it.
over under for last year's Dublin game?
That's a great question. Let me.
I'm gonna look it up while you're talking.
Okay, but yeah, so I feel like generally these point totals are pretty low unless one team blows another one out, and I don't see that being the case here. Um, I don't see a blowout. I mean, being the case here, and not to mention, I mean, it's Iowa State and Kansas State, big old Big 12, uh, defensive football coming at each other. Especially with both teams trying to feel themselves out a little bit at the beginning of the year. So I like the under 49.5 in Farmo getting this year. Kansas, I actually am taking an alternate spread in Kansas. 13.5 just seems a little much when, you think about they might get off to a slow start. There's all kinds of things that can go wrong in these weird week 0 games. But I did find an alternate one of -9.5. It's -162, so it's not an amazing return. But if you can get it as part of a parlay, maybe you can get some squeeze on that. And then I also found while I was scrolling through it, wasn't going to put this one on here, but I saw it and it was delicious. Jalen Daniels anytime touchdown is plus 105. So
Yeah, if I see that on the website I use, I'm absolutely putting money on that.
yeah, that seems like a no brainer. And then my mind has changed. I always pick an underdog money line, like every time. That's just one of my staples. But I can't do it because my underdog money line was Stanford. I learned they don't have a quarterback. So give me Hawaii minus the points, and let's let them get something nice for once.
Yeah. Also, the over under for the game last year, um, was 55 and a half in Dublin, and the point total was 45.
Oh wow, yeah. So
But at the same time, Florida State was favored by 10 and a half points. Um,
Saw how that went. Florida State was also favored to win the ACC by a lot of people.
Not us is the
Not
important
us.
thing.
Definitely not us. That's why you should always listen to us. Stop listening to mainstream sports media and listen to us instead because we're right more often.
Look, y'all don't have to stop listening to them, but if you do, like take notes about the dumb stuff they say and send it to us because we don't really listen to them anymore.
Yep, that's
We'll
true.
follow
The
them.
only
We'll follow them on social media to see what they
what dumb
post.
stuff they're saying about Georgia.
Yeah, yeah.
We're
Looking
speaking
at
of
you, Josh
which.
Pate.
Yep. Speaking of which, if you happen to see any of these mainstream media sports figures talking any trash about the Georgia Bulldogs and predicting ahead of time that they're not going to accomplish anything, not going to make the playoff, that Gunnar Stockton's going to throw 40 interceptions, whatever you can find on it, I'm collecting a document for this podcast of receipts because I figure one of these days we can just go through them because we
Mm-hmm.
all know what's going to happen is at the end of the year when Georgia wins the SEC or makes the playoff or wins the national championship, whatever they end up accomplishing that's more than what they're saying right now, they're going to come back and say, well, no, nobody, don't, why are you guys acting like we doubted Georgia? We knew Georgia was good. We
Mm-hmm.
knew they were going to do all this. So I'm keeping receipts. If anybody wants to send some my way, you can message at Dog Sports Memes or at nothing.finer.pod on Instagram, and we'll be
Yes.
happy to make a record of it.
Now, if you send me a message on the podcast Instagram and I don't respond or it doesn't say seen, comment on one of our posts that you send it to me because Instagram doesn't tell you when you have message requests. You kind of have to
Yep.
dig for them.
Yep.
So comment
Same
and
to
just
me.
say,
Yep.
"Hey, sent you a message" or something like that.
Yeah, that's fine. I try to look at my message requests when I notice I've got them, but same thing. I'm a lot more likely to see a comment.
Yes. All right, guys. So, oh, bury the
Yep.
lead. Um, because this is the Thursday episode.
It sure is.
This is the second episode with our new logo. You'll kind of notice that for the intro video and the frame, if you're watching on YouTube, we have the old logo. Just doing a little bit of rebranding, kind of.
Yep.
It's been a while since that 2021 title, and just don't want to keep using the logo. So we have switched to this pirate flag type design because honestly, of all the Georgia media that we pay attention to and listen to, we're kind of the pirates of it
Yeah, they're
in
the
a
renegades.
way because we cuss, we drink, we talk trash directly to opponents, journalists' faces in a friendly way at least.
Mhm.
Um, we're more or less like the outlaws and just kind of do things our way. And so you'll notice it's got the bulldog skull and a microphone and a whiskey bottle because that's
Yeah,
just kind of how we do things.
that's right. Yeah, which was harder than you would think to get a bulldog skull onto that logo.
Man,
But
I tried for hours one day, and then it was a joint effort with me and Caleb because
yeah, it took us a while to fine tune it all into place.
yes,
Draft one was something to say the least. But
yes, but so we'll see things over the next couple of weeks transition with the frame and the intro video and that sort of thing. But we're pretty excited. We're gonna have some new merch coming up with the new logo for on Millions. Maybe have some stickers with a new logo at the watch parties. Um, I do just have like 100 of the old logo stickers left, so I'm probably gonna try and sell or give away most of those, and then spend the money on new stickers to sell.
fair.
Um, but yeah, guys, if you want any merch with the old logo, check that out on millions.co. Send us a message if you want a koozie or a like a button, like the pins to go on your shirt or your jersey for game day. If you want, I'm not sure if I said koozie, but we have old logo koozies, old logo stickers, buttons, the whole kind of shebang there. So if you want any of that, send us a message or check out millions.co. Um, we appreciate all your business over there. But as always, y'all remember there's nothing finer in the land.
Than a drunk, obnoxious Georgia fan.